I had this realization, and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And uh, to be honest, it's actually kind of painful to think about because one of the issues that I have to deal with as somebody who's done consulting and contracting is kind of be realistic about the fact that I have a job history that shows that I'm extremely adept at coming into a new organization, getting the work done, and then leaving in a way that leaves the organization whole and able to handle not having a developer of my caliber around because I've already did the work to make sure that the team that was there could do that work, but also to make sure that there was no real extra work needed because I did the work while I was there. And so it kind of occurs to me that the pool of people who went to work, people who are looking for a job, they're all part of the labor pool, right? And so, the labor pool, right? And the pool of people who are hiring managers with jobs to fill. They want to hire. They hire from the labor pool, right? And I'm out of it because I'm so angry. And they hire from the labor pool, okay? And so the end result is that you can think, hey, maybe people can apply to hiring managers. No, HR is in the way by design. In the way. Even worse, HR is outsourcing to agency recruiters. Okay. Agency recruiters make the most money when hiring managers are not hiring full time. Okay. Agency recruiters then do the bait and switch. They lead hiring managers on. They don't give the hiring managers their best resumes or their best people. And they actively filter out people with the skills and abilities to do the job longer term because the hiring managers would benefit too much from that search. And so the end result is that if a hiring manager gets that resume that they're looking for and hires somebody full time, what is the recruiter going to do? How is the recruiter going to make money if they can't rent a person to the hiring manager? And that's the big issue, is that this is a supply chain attack by the recruiter. This was the epiphany that I had because when you really get down to it, there's only one labor pool. It's a group of people who need work because our society requires that in a capitalist society, we have the ability to pay bills. And that requires that we have income, which requires that we work or we start a business. Most people are not going to have the legal ability to start a business, or they're not going to have the capital to start a business because let's face it, not everybody has the money to start a company or the know-how to do it effectively. And so as a result of that, if you actually do have the money to start a business, you're ahead of the curve. But at the same time, the barrier to start a company and get one going off the ground has become so hard in the last few years that between the extra costs of hiring and everything else, it's basically impossible to get off the ground without VC funding now, especially if you work in tech like I do. And so the reason that VCs aren't around anymore is because the tax laws changed. And so it's extremely hard to start your own company. You can't do it on your own. And if you do, you're going to be at risk because what's going to happen is you're going to bootstrap, you're going to do it your way, you're going to give up your life savings, you're going to go into massive debt. And oh, by the way, you didn't do that paperwork correctly 5 years ago. Yeah, it's like that. So that's the landscape right now. And so instead, what's happening in tech is we've got a giant pool of people who want to work and they're looking for work. They want to code for a living. They want to do tech. They have the skills and they like probably have the experience. maybe 20% doesn't have the real experience and they just want to get into it for the first time. The problem there is those people are unqualified anyway, and they shouldn't even be trying right now because the market's so flooded. But that's a separate video. The fact is, the fact is at this point, if you're part of the labor pool and you are part of the experienced labor pool, aka the experienced, will have a leg up. Yeah, because the experienced labor pool will always have a leg up on the normal labor pool. And so here's the deal: people who are hiring, they're not going out and finding these candidates themselves. That's where the breakdown's happening. They're hiring, they're having HR do it because HR is required to send them the resumes that they then shift through to figure out, hey, can we hire this person? And the problem with that is HR is in the way. They are actively getting in the way of hiring, okay? Because they're outsourcing to agency recruiters, or they are just dumb themselves. Because what's happening is you've got very experienced people who actively want to get out of contracting or consulting or whatever, and they're not able to get hired as full time because of the biases that HR has, because HR doesn't want to hire anybody that's too competent. What's going to happen if you hire somebody that's too competent? Well, guess what? Somebody's job at the company might get replaced with that person if that person wants a promotion. It could create problems at the company if the wrong person leaves because another person wants a promotion. And then you have the idea of having to stack rank and level all the pay, which is the standard now. So if you get somebody who's extremely qualified, that throws everything else out of whack and forces HR to actually do some work, which they don't want to do. So the end result is that they outsource. Internal HR outsources to external HR, company that does agency recruiting, for example. At that point, agency recruiters, however, don't make the money by doing full-time hires. They might get a percentage of the person that gets hired, but the fact is they make most of their money off the top doing contracting and consulting. Okay, they're not making most of their money when hiring managers are actually hiring full time. And so as a result, agency recruiters do a bait and switch. Okay, they are sourcing people for jobs with the clear intention of not allowing them to get full time. They are filtering out anybody who is too old, aka they have experience over 10 years, or too skilled, aka they have experience over 10 years. And they want stability because those people will stay at the company, build it to be larger, and at that point, the recruiter will have less headcount to hire for. And so they filter out people who want stability and would be good for the hiring manager long term because this is a supply chain attack by the recruiter. And so that is the epiphany that I had today. And it sucks because that means that somebody like me who has the skills to help a company grow, who likes mentoring junior engineers, who wants to be part of the success he creates at a company, who wants to be long term and get out of contracting and consulting and just pivot his career into something more stable. Now has to worry about the fact that agency recruiters are actively going to go out of their way to make sure that I can't find work. It also means that all those juniors that wanted to get into the tech industry and thought maybe going in as a contractor or consultant was a good idea are going to get trapped by that because it's not a good idea. You should not get into tech as a contractor or a consultant because it will kill your future opportunities in exactly this way. It hurts your ability to get future work because hiring managers aren't even allowed to see your resume because they're already filtered out by HR. That's why you're applying everywhere and not getting a call back. That's why you're applying to so many jobs directly and getting nothing but emails from no reply email addresses saying that the market is very competitive. Okay? That's what's going on. Okay? So don't do that. Don't hurt yourself. Just just we need to find a way to solve this supply chain attack. We need to find a way to stop the recruiters from discriminating against people with skills. We need to find a way for the companies that actually want to hire actually hire full time.